Hi, I'm Mrs. Berrigar, and I'm recording this video today to talk to you about the 2025 Jumpstart High School program in Chinook's Edge School Division. You're going to need to watch this video all the way to the end for a number of reasons, but the main one is that this is actually the first hour of instruction for your Jumpstart courses, and so this is part of your first credit. So I'm going to explain the program, a little bit about where it's come from and how it's going to play out this year and what the expectations are on students. This video is going to answer a lot of the questions that you're going to have about the program. And so if you have questions right now at the start of this video, I'm probably going to answer those over the course of the next few minutes. So this is our 5th year running the Jumpstart High School program, and it has been my great privilege over the last few years to have had the opportunity to give away several hundred free Chromebooks to students. So the way this works is that I have 10 computer technology courses at a high school level, and from the 10 courses, you will select 6. When you complete 6 courses, I will log your name onto my list of students who have completed it. And at the end of July or the early part of August, I will provide that list to our technology department. And every student who completes 6 credits of high school computer technology courses with me in the end of June and the start of July will receive a free Chromebook from Chinook's Edge School Division. Now, one of the first questions I get asked is, which model of Chromebook is it going to be? And all I can tell you about that right now is that I don't actually know, because it depends on how many students finish all 6 courses and what model is available in the kinds of numbers that we typically need to order. So logistics and availability impacts that. And so before I've had any students complete, I can't really say what model it's going to be. What I can tell you is that I have never had a disappointed student when I've given them their free Chromebook. So you're going to have 6 weeks to complete 6 courses. So that actually makes for some pretty easy time management for you if you bother to sit down and kind of plan it out at the beginning. So this year we are going to start on June the 13th, and from that point on, you will have control to determine how quickly or how not quickly you choose to go. You are in control of the pacing on this. You are in control of your own time for this, and you will have all the resources made available to you on June 13th to begin your first course, so that we can move forward and give you your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so on until you have completed the entirety. For those of you just going into high school, the way it works in the province of Alberta is that for every 1 credit that you are awarded, there should be approximately 25 hours of instruction and working on the task at hand in order to complete it. So what I'm telling you is that you're probably not going to complete your first course on the first day, because we only have 24 hours in a day. Now, I'm not telling you that every course is going to take you 25 hours. If you're distracted and you don't really apply yourself, then it might take you the full 25 hours. But honestly, if you were to sit down and devote an hour to it every day, beginning on the first day of Jumpstart, so beginning on June 13th, if you put an hour in every single day, you will easily finish all 6 courses. So what I'm telling you is, if you focus and you apply yourself, you've totally got this. But if you're going to procrastinate and fool around and really not pay that much attention as you're doing it, it is going to take you longer. So it would be my recommendation, for whatever it's worth, to say, block off an hour each day. It's summer holidays, 1 hour, not a big deal. And just do it. Because in September, when I come and I bring you that free Chromebook, you're going to be thanking your past self. So that would be my recommendation. Now, with the flexibility of Jumpstart, there are no scheduled classes. So there's no Google Meets that you have to be on the computer at a certain time in order to learn the content. That's not how this works at all. That said, if you feel like you need a Google Meet, reach out to me and we'll set something up. So it's not that you can't have teacher time. It's that I'm not going to tell you, okay, on Mondays at 10 in the morning, you better be out of bed and on a Google Meet. It doesn't work that way at all. What you will find is that you will enter the Google Classroom that I provide to you. So this year I am going to use Google Classroom again. Last year I used a different learning management tool called Hapera, and I had reasons for choosing that one last year. This year I'm going to use Google Classroom, and part of the reason for that is that I'm working with our retired Director of Technology to try to provide an AI companion or an AI tutor for Jumpstart that will help with answering some of these questions. So what happens when Jumpstart starts is I typically get bombarded with lots of emails asking questions that are either covered in this video, or they're things that we don't really need to be worrying about quite yet. And so I will get to those things when I get to them, but we're going to try and use an AI chatbot this year to help answer some of those questions that are maybe causing a little bit of stress or anxiety on your end, where on my end of things, it's like, oh, that's totally not something we need to worry about yet. We'll deal with that in a week or so. So I'm trying to meet you where you're at, because my reality with Jumpstart is this. I have hundreds of students, all of whom are taking 6 courses in 6 weeks. So on my end of things, it's a lot of chaos. Here's the other thing with Jumpstart. I work for Chinook's Edge as Coordinator of Educational Technology, and my job runs from about the middle of August until the last day of June. But we are starting Jumpstart on the 13th of June. My other job isn't over on June the 13th, but I add in Jumpstart at that time to give you the 6 weeks to really plan your time. So if you send me an email in June, particularly if I have answered it in this video, it's not going to go to my top priority to respond to in June. And I can give you some examples of questions that I'm not going to respond to in June. I don't have all 6 of my courses yet. What day is the deadline for everything? And now I'm drawing a blank, trying to think of what some of the other questions I often get asked are. But I've got my notes here to cover everything in this video, and then we will have an AI chatbot to hopefully assist us. So, in terms of those pressing questions, when is the deadline to complete all 6 courses? The deadline to complete all 6 courses is July the 24th at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds. I don't select the deadline. Alberta Education selects the deadline. I do not have the power to give you more time for Jumpstart. I can't do anything at the end of July. I'm giving it on this side of things. As I already mentioned, I have a full-time job with Chinook's Edge that goes until June the 30th. I add in Jumpstart 2.5 weeks early so that you have enough time to finish these courses. So as we roll towards July the 24th, emailing me and asking me for extensions on time is probably not going to yield much result, because I don't set the deadline. Alberta Education does. But I'm giving you the extra time up front so that you have a head start on your Jumpstart. So one more time for those in the back, the deadline is July 24th at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds. The beauty of conducting everything digitally is everything has a timestamp. So as long as you got it submitted before that midnight deadline, it's going to count. Now, with the grading, so Jumpstart is a bit of an interesting class to teach as a teacher, because everybody's working at different paces and handing different things in at different times, and not necessarily everybody starts with the same course, although I am making a couple changes to that this summer, and we're going to talk about that too. So what happens is, for the first couple weeks, there isn't a ton of grading for me to do. And as I've mentioned, I already have a full-time job with Chinook's Edge during those 2 weeks. So what's going to happen is some kids are going to get out the start gates here and they're going to get some stuff done fairly quickly. And it's going to have to just wait a little bit for me to come and grade. So as the 6 weeks go through, I will start grading more and more frequently as we get closer and closer to the end of July. As we move into July, I will post on Google Classroom what my schedule is going to be for grading. So a couple days before I do it, I'm going to post the order that I'm going to grade them in and what day I'm going to do that on. I do that so that if you have just a couple things left to finish up for one of the courses, you have a heads up that I'm going to be doing a grading so that you can prioritize that. When I grade, I start at 10:30 and I go through them sequentially. So I'll grade INF 10:30, 10:60, 10:70, and I will move them through in a numeric sequence every time. So that gives you the knowledge of how I grade, and I will be posting in Google Classroom when I will be grading. The first couple weeks, I'm not going to do tons of grading because not a lot of kids are going to have much to submit. Because let's lay it out here. If I'm going to lay it out that I have another job for Chinook's Edge that I'm working, we also need to acknowledge that you have PAT exams to write if you're in grade 9 this year, or you have final exams to write, and those are a priority for you as well. So even though you have this additional time to get things started, your first priority needs to be those exams that you have to write. But if you need a break from studying and you want to get a kickstart on your Jumpstart, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this going. Now, what has happened in years past is that because I start this a little bit early, a lot of grade 9s get signed up for their first course inside of their school, and they don't really have time maybe, or summer's not going to facilitate doing a full Jumpstart. But it's still nice to get a credit or two to start high school. So before you've ever actually started grade 10, you have a high school credit already on the books, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 even, because all of the grade 9s who complete 6 courses are going to have a Jumpstart on high school of 6 credits. So you need 100 to graduate. If you complete 6 courses with me, you start high school with 6 courses already on your high school transcript. That's where we got the name Jumpstart from. We're jumpstarting your road to your graduation. This year, all grade 9s who are going to do Jumpstart are going to start with the high school course INF 1030. And so what that one is it's kind of a broader, zoomed back of Google Workspace skills. So we're going to do a little bit with Google Drive, we're going to do a little bit with Google Docs, a little bit with Slides, a little bit with Sheets, and a little bit with Gmail and just kind of managing the Google environment. We're going to start with that one because those skills will push out into the subsequent 5 courses that grade 9s will take to complete a full Jumpstart. But we're going to start everybody in INF 1030. And there's a few logistical reasons behind that. And I can fill you in on what those are here real quick. Number 1 is that in some of our schools, especially our really rural schools where all the students are bused, some classes will start doing the Jumpstart during the school day. So you wrote your PAT in the morning, and let's just say you wrote your math PAT in the morning, but on your school schedule after lunch, you would have math, but you already wrote your exam. So that gives a really great opportunity for you to begin your Jumpstart. If all students are doing INF 1030, then the teacher, so in my example, that would be your math teacher. Your math teacher isn't trying to help with 10 courses then. Your math teacher is just trying to help you with 1 course to get started. And I am going to explain how all of this works. So you shouldn't even need your math teacher to help you out with it, but just in case, this is going to make it easier for that teacher. Additionally, enrolling students into these programs, when I'm talking about hundreds of students, it's hundreds of registrations to process, but not every student is planning to do all 6 courses. So what we're going to do with grade 9s who are going into grade 10 is you're all going to start with INF 1030. When you complete INF 1030, you're going to communicate to me that you're done INF 1030. So you're going to email me. You're going to have the ability to email me. You're going to send me a quick email saying, Mrs. Berger, I'm done INF 1030. Can I pick my next 5 courses now? And then I'm going to send you the form to pick your next 5 courses. You're going to pick them, and then I'm going to give you the codes for Google Classroom to get into those courses to get them started. So just to reiterate, all grade 9s are going to start with INF 1030. At the end of INF 1030, when you're done, you're going to email Mrs. Beauregard to ask for the registration for your 5 next courses. Mrs. Beauregard is going to email you the registration form. You're going to pick your next 5 courses, and Mrs. Beauregard is going to give you the course codes to get into those Google Classrooms. Now, let's talk about once you get into Google Classroom. So, it's June the 13th and you wrote your PAT in the morning and now you're ready to work on some Jumpstart stuff this afternoon. You're going to go to Google Classroom, you're going to log in, and you're going to have a Google Classroom for your first Jumpstart course. It's going to be broken down into different sections. So I'm going to just continue to use INF 1030 for my example. You're going to go into Google Classroom and you're going to find sections that are all those things that I just said. So there'll be a section on Google Docs, there'll be a section on Google Slides, etc. And you're going to click on the first task in that section. There's going to be a little video for you. It'll be between probably 2 minutes, and I think the very longest video I've seen in any of it is 7 minutes. So there's going to be a brief video that shows you what to do. Now, some people like to have the words to follow along with. So you're going to find a couple attachments on each one of those. You're going to find the video that shows you what it is you're going to do and how to do it, and you're going to find the printed words of what is contained in that video. So if you want to read along or if you want to use it as notes, you can totally have a copy of what the host in the video is saying. So you've got your video and you've got the transcript for the video. Now here's the thing. The videos are housed in another application called Edpuzzle. And in Edpuzzle, I have embedded questions into each video. So it's going to go along and it's going to teach you some things, and then there's going to be a question that pops up that you have to answer about what you were just taught. This does a couple things. It keeps you active with the videos and paying attention, just like if you were in a class with a teacher at the front of the room who might ask you a question all of a sudden. The video is going to do that. It also lets me know how you're progressing with things, because in Edpuzzle, I can see which videos you've watched, if you've watched any at all. I can see how far you watched them. I can see what date you watched them on, and I can see how far you got, in addition to how you answered the questions. So Edpuzzle gives me some of that information that I would have if I was insisting that you participate in a Google Meet with me, or if we were in a face-to-face classroom. But this lets you do it at, I don't know, I've had students working at 2 in the morning. If that's the way you structure your summer, if you like staying up late, if you're a night owl and that's kind of part of a great summer, you can work on Jumpstart late at night. You can work on Jumpstart early in the morning. You can work on it in the middle of the day. But Edpuzzle is how you're going to receive the video instructions. Now, with Edpuzzle, I have to sync it to Google Classroom. So if I populate all of my students into Google Classroom for INF 1030, you have to accept the invitation. You have to join the Google Classroom. From there, I have to do a sync to sync Edpuzzle and Google Classroom together so that the videos will work for you. Now, what's going to happen is some people are not going to pay attention to this part of the video, or they're not going to watch the video to this particular time spot. They're going to go into Google Classroom, they're going to click on that first video, and then they're going to get a thing that says the video doesn't work because I haven't synced Google Classroom and Edpuzzle yet. So on June the 13th, I'm going to have to do repeated syncs throughout the day to get everybody in and functioning. But when you first go into Google Classroom, the videos aren't going to work yet. I will need to do a sync. So just be patient. I'm going to sync frequently throughout the day on June the 13th. On June the 14th, I'm going to sync a little less frequently, maybe once per hour. On June 15th, I'll probably sync once in the morning and once in the afternoon, because as we get this going, that's how it's going to be. If you are in a position where you've come into Google Classroom and the video doesn't work yet, but you need it to work, you can give me an email. I'm giving you permission that I will respond to these. So You go to your email, you're going to put in mbaragar@cesd73.ca, and then your title needs to be this. Listen carefully. Please sync Google Classroom and Edpuzzle for me. So that's going to be your subject line. I'm going to be watching for that subject line, and the minute I see that come in, I will pause whatever else I'm doing and I will do a sync. So again, because this is part of a test to see if you've watched my video here, you can send me an email if you need me to do a sync, and the title of the email should be whatever it was I just said a moment ago, and I will print the words on the screen when I edit this video. But we're going to make this very formal so that you get the response that you're seeking. Because if you email me during June, and I have to be ready to get probably several hundred emails that first day, again, a lot of the questions are going to have been answered in this video. And so if you send me an email in June that is asking me a question that has been answered here, I'm probably not going to respond. It is your responsibility to be watching this video. And if you're seeing this part of the video, obviously you're doing as I've asked. So if you have friends who are confused about this whole thing, please redirect them to this video. I put a lot of time and thought into this video to try and give you the very best jump start that I possibly can. But now I want to also say that I'm human and I do make mistakes. So you may find a question in Edpuzzle off the video that maybe didn't make sense, or you answered it correctly, but Edpuzzle said it was wrong. Please don't worry about that. You can totally send me an email and let me know of an error, because that helps me to fix it for years to come. But you're going to find some mistakes in there because I'm a human and I'm going to make some mistakes. So just kind of be ready for the fact that I could make a mistake. Other questions I often get is, what happens if I don't finish all the courses? If you don't finish all 6, you do not get a Chromebook. It's a funding parameter, and the way this works is between June the 13th and July the 24th. If you complete 6 courses, you get 6 credits and a free Chromebook. If you only complete 5 courses, you will get the 5 credits. So if you complete INF 1030, 1060, 1070, 2910, and 2920, you're going to get the credits for all 5 of those courses. But you are not going to get a Chromebook because you need to complete that 6th course to get that Chromebook. So again, I'm going to mention that this is 6 courses in 6 weeks. If you sit down with a calendar right now and you plan out your time, you will easily finish. If you don't finish them all, you will get the credits for every course you finished. You just don't get the Chromebook. So you still get advantage from doing this. You still can get a jump start on your high school by doing this program. What happens if you move away? Like, what happens if your family in the summertime moves to like Red Deer or Calgary or Charlottetown? No problem. Just email me with your new mailing address, and I will make sure in September, after all the Chromebooks have arrived and I've labeled them all, I will have noted on my list of completions that you've moved, and I will have copy pasted your new address that you gave me in the email so that I can ship the Chromebook to you. So even if you move to a different district or to a different province, or you move down to the USA, that's happened too, I will ship you your Chromebook. If you complete 6 courses in 6 weeks, you've earned a Chromebook, and wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours, I will ship you your Chromebook. You will also find in some of the assignments that I will allow you to use AI. So some of the assignments in things like in Google Docs where you need to compose some text, it will say in the assignment that you are allowed to use AI for this particular assignment. And here's the simple rule, and it's really simple. If you use AI for it, I just want you to communicate that you used AI and what AI tool you used to do it. So if you were doing an assignment that was in Google Docs and the assignment said you could use AI to do it, and you used Google Gemini to do it, you would just say when you hand it in, I used Google Gemini to help generate the text. Perfect. That's all I ask of you. AI is a new thing. It's new for all of us. And there are some places in Jumpstart where I'm not assessing your language arts skills. I'm not assessing your ability to write a paragraph. That's for your language arts teachers. I am assessing your ability to do with the paragraph what the instructions are, whether that's formatting or that's text change or that's bringing in an image from somewhere else. I am assessing your technology skills. So you will know that you can use AI on a particular assignment because the assignment will tell you in the instructions that if you want to use AI for this assignment, you have my permission. Just please tell me what tool you used and what you used it for. Now, you may have noted that I mentioned Google Gemini a moment ago. In Chinook's Edge, students who are 13 years or older, because that's the age that Google puts on it, have access to Google's version of ChatGPT. And it's called Google Gemini. And so you have a full version of Gemini, where ChatGPT you have to pay for to have the full version. So you're going to get more if you use Gemini. The other thing is that through a lens of privacy, I would prefer you use Gemini because Gemini, as an educational institution, it's not going to keep the things you put into it. I don't know for sure what OpenAI does with content that gets put into ChatGPT, but I know that if you're logged in with your @CESD73.ca account and you use Gemini, nothing you put in there is going to be kept for Google's purposes of training. It says that right at the bottom of the screen. So if you go to Gemini and just do a Google search for Gemini, it'll come right up. I think it's app.gemini.com is the address. But if you just search for it, it'll come up and you'll note at the bottom of the screen underneath where you type your question that it says that they don't keep anything for training purposes. So I use Gemini almost exclusively. I only ever use GPT now if Gemini tells me it can't do something. So just as an example, sometimes when I'm trying to construct a learning task for social studies, if it's about politics and stuff like that, sometimes Gemini will come back with a response that says, I can't help out with that. And usually I can prompt it around that, but sometimes it's so stuck on the idea that I'm asking it for something political that I must have nefarious intentions when I'm just asking it to help me construct something for a grade 4 class. So sometimes I have to go back to GPT, but really it would be my recommendation that you use Gemini. So I'm going to just give a real quick summary here. 6 courses in 6 weeks, you get a free Chromebook. It'll probably be after the 15th of September before you get it, but 6 courses in 6 weeks, you'll get a free Chromebook. We are going to open it up on June 13th. Students in grade 9 on June 13th will all have access to INF 1030, but that will be the only course they have access to. Students entering grade 11 and grade 12, you will have access to at least one of the courses that you selected. Probably not all 6 on the first day, because Google Classroom puts a cap on how many students I can enroll in Google Classroom in a day. So we're going to have to do a little bit of, I will be in communication whether you need a class code or whatever to get in. But June 13th, all students in grade 9 will have access to INF 1030. Students in grade 11 and grade 12, you'll have access to at least one of the courses that you wanted. Students in grade 9, as soon as you're done INF 1030, you're going to send me an email that's going to let me know that you are ready for the registration form to pick your next 5 courses. I will get that to you as soon as you send me that email letting me know you're ready for that registration form. On the first day, I have to sync Google Classroom to Edpuzzle to make the videos work. I will do that regularly on June 13th. But if you get in and you need me to do a sync right away, you're going to open up an email, you're going to send it to me with a subject line asking me to please do a sync to Edpuzzle. I'll do it as soon as I see your email. I'm pretty connected most of the time, and that'll get things going. I am going to have an AI chatbot. I don't know how well it will or won't work, but we get to be the guinea pigs for Chinook's Edge for this kind of thing. So I'm working to build that chatbot with our retired Director of Technology, Mr. Harvey, and we will have some form of chatbot to help you with remembering things like, when is the deadline? When is the deadline? Why, it's July the 24th at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds. I cannot give you an extension beyond that. Alberta Education sets that deadline, and I have to have my marks into their system on July the 25th. So I cannot extend you beyond that deadline. I don't know what model of Chromebook it will be that we deliver to you, because it's going to depend how many students earn Chromebooks and then which manufacturer has enough Chromebooks to fill that need. So I think that gives us the broader look at Jumpstart. I am going to do a little tour of the website as well to help you understand what the courses even are that you can select for Jumpstart and what you would be doing in each of the courses. So I do have a website, and we're going to do a tour of that as well. And this will comprise the first bit of your 25 hours of instructional learning towards your first credit. Now we're going to take a quick peek at the Jumpstart High School website. You'll note that it is at the address that was just noted on your screen, and on this website you will find answers to some of your questions as well as information about the courses. So we are on the landing page, which is just our Jumpstart High School webpage and logo, and this video will be changed out to have the video that I am currently recording, and you have a direct link to get you to Google Classroom from our Jumpstart High School website. So under the information, we've got some general information about the program, much of which has been covered in this video. But if you have further questions, here's some of the stuff in writing with respect to registrations, which have changed a little bit for our grade 9s going into grade 10 this year. But for everybody else, it's kind of the same process. A little bit of information about me. I'm teaching the course this year, and then some of the questions and answers about the program itself. Also under information, we've got the modules, and so you'll note that I have task-based modules and project-based modules, and by modules, that's what they're called in the curriculum. Those are the courses. So if we go to task-based modules, you'll see that INF 1030 is right there. That's that Google Workspace training one that we've already looked at. And then here are the other ones that fall into this category. When I say task-based, what I mean is that it's a series of standalone activities that build skills, but one task does not automatically lead to the next task. They don't follow a particular sequence. But if you want to know what kinds of things you would be doing in each of those courses, this is a breakdown of them. And then 2 years ago, I added an introduction to coding. Now, I will say that if you don't have some previous experience with coding, or you're not super interested in it, that one might not be one that you want to attempt to do by yourself. It's not hard, but it does take an amount of attention paid to the code writing, because with code, if you make even a tiny little mistake, your code can be wrong. If you're up for the challenge, it's actually a pretty good and not terribly difficult course. It is just an introduction to coding. I also have 3 project-based modules. These ones fall under a broader umbrella, and each one does lead to the next. So if we look at the plan a budget in Google Sheets, the subtopics are to learn how to make financial decisions using spreadsheets. So you're going to make a long-term spending decision, a long-term spending plan, you're going to research car loans, you're going to plan a vacation, and you have a wrap up to the budgeting. So it's going to teach you how to use the technology to manage that aspect of your life. So I've separated those out just so that if one is more appealing to you as compared to the other, they're separated so you can see kind of what you're getting into. But those are the courses that you're looking for. Then I've got FAQs. So these are a lot of the things we've covered in this video, but this is also a reference for you to refer back to. Then I've got a few testimonials from some parents and some students who have completed the program in years past. So feel free to take a peek at those. Then we have the page for registration. So this is for students who are interested to sign up for summer 2025. But I'm going to ask you to consider the following, and I'm even going to read this out loud for you before you attempt to register. Number 1, it's only available to students currently enrolled in Chinook's Edge School Division. So when you register for this, you have to use your CESD73 email account. You should select your school from the list to do your registration, and the reason is that I have your names already pre-populated in there so that when I go to apply your credit to your power school, that I get it to the right person, because some people go by a different name than what we have them in PowerSchool. And I really need to make sure that I get the right credits to the right people. So these are the registration forms. You're going to come here, you're going to click on your school, you're going to find your name, and you're going to select your courses. Grade 9s who are going into grade 10, you are not going to do that process until you have finished INF 1030. Okay, if you don't find your name in the list, talk to somebody at the office of your school and we will get your name added to the list so that you can register. Okay, students who register will be sent information how to access the first course, INF 1030. We've already talked about that in this video. It's going to be in Google Classroom, and when you complete it, you're going to get access to these registration forms where you will pick the remaining 5 courses. On June 13th, I'm going to send you an email, and it's going to give you all the information to get started. The content will start to appear in your Google Classroom on June 13th. Now, you must be logged into a Google account as a student of CESD in order to access the registration form. I will not share this form to any address that does not end with @cesd73.ca. This program is not open to anyone outside of Chinook's Edge, and the way that we ensure that it is only being accessed by students in Chinook's Edge is through that email address. So if you are logged in with a Gmail, you're not going to have access to the form, and I'm not going to give you access to the form. If you are an employee in Chinook's Edge and you are intending to complete the registration for your child, you need to be logged in as your child. Otherwise, it's going to be you who gets added to all of the Google Classrooms, and it's going to be you who gets all of my emails, and you don't want that. So please sit with your child if you need to and do the registration, but please make sure that you're logged in with your CESD73 email addresses. The last thing on here is the calendar. You're really only going to see a couple dates. I'm going to be updating this today for our 2025 Jumpstart. You're going to see on here shortly the date that Jumpstart starts and the date that Jumpstart ends, which hopefully you are well familiar with after having watched this video. So I'm super excited to get this year's Jumpstart underway. It's like being Santa, getting to come to your school in September and give you a free Chromebook. It's so super fun. And so right now, nobody has a head start on anybody. We're going to start on June 13th. And I would love for you to take a few minutes, plan out your time, and get yourself set up to have a successful Jumpstart, because I really do want to give you a free Chromebook in September. This is going to be great this year. I look forward to every minute of it. See you soon.